I'm Hans, and this is my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I will be getting back into some more motorcycle stuff and getting into that as soon as the weather clears up. It's so cold here right now, so I wanted to get back into this. About a year ago, I did this video, and I did a video about these little mini amps that are a lot smaller than these ones, but they only have a left and a right channel. These ones actually will operate as subwoofers.
Let's go!
I've got a huge subwoofer over here, and we are going to hook these things up. There's a couple of differences, like this particular one we went over in the last video, but it has a RCA jack to send the signal to the subwoofer. And then you've got ones like these ones that we went over in the last video as well, but you actually have to plug the subwoofer into this one. The one that we're doing today is going to be almost identical to this, except for this is a knob sound. This is a Fosi. This one is a Fosi as well, and I really like this thing. After I got a chance to kind of mess with it a little bit more, hopefully I figured out what was wrong with it. I still got a used one, so I would like to have a new one, or at least have them give me some kind of discount so that I don't pay for a new one when I'm really just looking to get a new one instead of a used one. So I've got a couple speakers on this side, a couple speakers on this side that we're going to be using, and the subwoofer. So I kind of made this little makeshift subwoofer cable using the RCA jack, and I went ahead and just kind of made this little makeshift little guy right here that's going to drive the subwoofer. I had to turn the subwoofer all the way down, or almost all the way down, because these things will provide the power to the subwoofer. And if you turn it up, it's distorted and way too loud, and you're going to blow up your speaker. So be really careful if you're going to do what I'm doing. This is made to drive a subwoofer. So if you've got a subwoofer box, like from a car or something like that, and you're going to be driving just a subwoofer with no amp, then this is the way to do it. The other three videos that I'm going to do, all of those have a signal wire that is an RCA signal wire that will deliver the signal to the amp, and then we're going to use the amp on the subwoofer to go ahead and tell me how loud it's going to be. There's a little dial on the back of almost every subwoofer that you can adjust. So let's get into it. So this one is actually a professional digital audio, and it says transmit nature music. Nature music. We're not going to worry about their marketing and wording and all that stuff. So they do have a little brochure here that shows you how to hook things up and what goes into what. And it does show that there is a subwoofer driver. This thing does come with a power plant, which is nice. I believe this is 24 volts. These two, if you look at the front of them, it's not identical by any means. This one has a lot more knobs on it, so you have a lot more adjustment for bass and treble and that kind of stuff. And it has a selected knob for the subwoofer. On the back, these things look almost identical again, so it wouldn't surprise me very much if both of these were made in the same factory, but whoever's making them is either knocking one off or whatever. But we went over this one already in the video before, so if you guys want to watch that, go ahead and click wherever it is up there somewhere, and I'll go ahead and leave a link for that. But today we're going to be using this one, and we're going to go ahead and hook all of the wires up to this. Again, you've got your left and right, and you can hook a sub up to the B, which I imagine stands for bass. So you can see on the back side here, this one has all the inputs. This one has the same inputs. The only difference is this one has a B instead of a sub. So I imagine that one stands for bass. This one has a sub input. So left and right and sub. So we'll go ahead and plug these in. Okay, so I've got all my wires plugged in. Now I just get the power plugged in. The one thing I did learn from my last video that I kind of made a joke and I thought I was being funny, but apparently people don't like it when you make jokes about stuff, I guess. I don't know. So I plugged in the power supply after I had this plugged into the wall. It made a spark, and 24 volts will definitely make a spark when you plug it in, unless you plug this in first and then plug this part into the wall, which I do know, but I was really just trying to be funny and trying to make it light. But I'll be more serious if you guys want that. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it very serious. It's got a switch on the side, so an actual switch to turn it on and off. So we're gonna go ahead and go turn it on. There's a little red light right there, as you can see. Volume is up here. It's all the way down, I think, or maybe it's all the way up. So I want to kind of center my treble and my bass. Treble and bass, so I imagine the bass is actually going to push bass through my speakers and through the sub at the same time. I did like this one. This one has a dedicated subwoofer channel on it, so that one is a little bit better in my opinion, but I haven't heard how this sounds. This one sounds a little bit milky, like it's not crisp and sharp, especially when you have a lot of bass turned up on it. So this might actually balance that stuff a little bit better. So let's go ahead and connect it to the Bluetooth and we'll see what we can come up with. So every one of these that I've had previously has connected like really quickly, and this one is not. So I'm wondering if there's something wrong with it or if I'm doing something wrong. Is there like a Bluetooth like connect button? Oh, there is. So on the back there's an AUX Bluetooth connector. So you can see right underneath this antenna right here that there's a little switch. So AUX Bluetooth. I was having trouble getting the Bluetooth to connect because it was on AUX. So make sure you have that one selected correctly before you get mad and throw this thing against the wall. Let's try that. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, there it is. Cool. All right. BT Hi-Fi Audio. So let's go to our music here. I just downloaded some music that was royalty free and it's kind of 80s, but it's got some 808 so we can listen to how good the bass sounds or not, and then just see how all the rest of the sounds, and we'll test all of this. So here we go, try it out. Make sure you turn the volume up. And I'll turn the volume up on my phone. Ooh. Okay, so you get the idea, but I hear all of the bass is coming out of these two speakers, these four speakers, I should say, and it doesn't sound very good. These should be running kind of the mids and the highs, and then the subwoofer should be hitting the bass. So I did turn that all the way down. So let's go ahead and start this over, and let's go try to turn up the bass and just see if we can get it tuned in right. The other thing is when you turned up the bass on this one, you could hear it just get really milky. It was like muddy, I guess. It did not sound very good. So you can get the highs, the pitches and all that stuff to kind of come in, and I have everything pretty much set in the middle right now. So we're gonna go ahead and play this and turn up the bass till we see, just till it sounds right. Here we go. That's better. All right, so my 2 cents on this one is if you're gonna have a bass running off of this, don't have a powered bass. It sounds kind of garbagey. The signal coming out of the bass here, this thing is meant to drive that bass, and this is not sounding very good at all. So if you are gonna have a bass, look, we can go grab one actually, I think. Do I have the stuff to do this? I think I do. So I got this speaker, it's upside down, from Stereo Superstores. It used to be my Porsche, but there's no place for it. They did a really bad job installing it, so I took it out. There is no amp on it. It's just the bass itself, and you can tell right away. Let's just watch this. So if I set this on the floor, like it would be for your stereo system, this sounds really good. You turn that up, you can really feel that bass, but you can also hear it here. So it sounds like just over a little bit more than halfway on the bass on this when you have one hooked up the correct way like this and not using a powered amp. I'm surprised that honestly how well this one pushes out on this without having its own control. This sounds much better than this one in my opinion. This is the knob sound. As you can see, like I said, it's got its own bass control and all the treble bass, all that stuff. This one is very, very simple. It only has a treble and a bass, and if you take a second and tune it in, you can get it sounding really, really good. So one more time, let's just listen to this. This, again, is the Fosi audio. Okay, so my 2 cents. It's definitely pushing a lot of bass out of here. Depending on what song you're playing or how much bass there is, it's gonna sound different. You're not gonna pick up what I'm listening to through this microphone. I understand that, so you're just gonna have to take my word for what it is and we are going to move forward. But we're pushing a lot of bass out of here because we really can't define where that bass is coming from. It does, to me, like I said, it does sound a little bit better than this one, and it pushes a lot more bass on the floor. I could actually feel it moving my chair, so it was actually really moving it, and you could see it when I had it on. It's not the best thing in the world. This was the one that we did in the previous video. This one has a way cleaner audio, obviously, because it's got its own signal, and you were able to, this one actually, you could only do the treble and the bass on this one as well with the remote. So I'm not sure what makes this one sound so much better, but when I had this hooked up to a subwoofer and then these speakers, it sounded really, really good. This is so far my favorite one I've ever listened to, and I did a review on all of those other ones. Again, they didn't have the ability to run a bass, but these ones do. So we're gonna keep moving forward and get to the next video. 2 more that are gonna be kind of a cleaner audio run right to the subwoofer, and they're really meant for that. This one is really meant to drive that subwoofer. This one is really meant to drive that subwoofer. So hopefully this video was helpful and you guys like it. If you didn't, go ahead and send it to a friend. And if you did, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button if you want to see the next video, and you will see me in that one. Let's go!